as opposed to figuring out a bunch of weird angles. I just realized I did this. Anyway, all right, welcome back. We're here on another Friday.
Yep, we're back.
And we're here to say Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hope it was a good one. I know it's like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what, the 5th? The 5th. So, yeah, I mean, it's a little late to be talking like that, but you haven't seen us since before the New Year, so.
Yeah, it's winter now, so
It's winter in Wisconsin.
Yeah, so the projects have slowed down.
So we all got together for the holidays with our families and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're through that and we're into the planning for this winter, because as much as I hate winter, it does give us an opportunity to have a little downtime. We want to talk about each car, sort of. I want to give out some thanks. We got over 100 subscribers, which we're pretty hyped about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been something that I wanted to do, or something that I've been looking forward to since we started this channel. Just getting more subscribers and more people interested in the things that we want to do all the time. I know there's more of you out there, and we will find you, and we will exploit you. Anyway, apart from that, just subscribe. But
yeah, and one of our videos had over 1,000 views.
Yeah, and it just like slowly grew.
Huge
to that,
for us.
Which I think is cool, because you guys apparently want to see some Civic stuff. Is what I've gotten out of this. And we have some Civic goodies. The thing is, we just got to talk with Sam about making the goodies happen. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's him.
Right.
So, all right, we've got some parts here that we're going to go over.
Super stuff
first. You like Civic stuff, so what we're going to do is we're going to just go away from that immediately.
Yeah, we're just not going to do any more Civic stuff now. No, actually, Civic stuff, I would like to do at least like track day or two or something, like some using the Civic.
Okay, I like that.
In the summer.
Yeah,
so that'll be coming back. I'm not going to tear that car apart yet.
Yeah.
I have other things which we're going to talk about.
But tell us about the cool part about not having to tear that car apart.
Well, yeah. So I think you've seen it in a previous video, kind of a little bit in the background. I do have a clone Civic wagon that is a rusty pile of crap that I'm going to use as a test mule for
mock-up.
For all the modifications that I'm going to be doing to the car. There's a lot that goes into that. Not to mention that said test mule is a rusty, terrible pile of junk that is going to fight us every single step of the way, even just taking things apart.
But the other thing is, too, we don't have to really be that nice to it.
Yes.
We can hack stuff out of it, and as long as we leave in our mounting points, because, spoiler alert, there's a different motor hanging around.
Maybe.
Quite possibly.
So anyway, so there will still be work going on that will be progressing the project of the Civic, but the Civic itself will not be getting torn apart this year. I want to use it a little bit. I want to play with it a little bit more. It runs good. Now we just did all that suspension work and brake work. I want to utilize that a little bit and play with it before I really tear it apart. So another Civic is going to be going under the knife to have some major modifications done and some test fitting, and hopefully we'll be able to sort out all of that before we actually tear apart the good one and do all those modifications to it.
Yeah, and that's honestly like an awesome thing. It's hilarious that I didn't even think of it existing until you reminded me of it.
Yeah.
Because it's just
rotting away in the
rusty thing.
It's a terrible car.
But I mean, for the sake of mock-ups, I mean, it's like a dream come true, honestly.
Yeah.
So we're going to work on stuff with the Civic. We want to do track day with the Civic.
Yeah.
We want to do, which I think is going to be awesome. I don't know what track we're going to go to.
Well, the Milwaukee Mile should be up and running this year for the PDX track days. Um,
And it's new and improved?
it's been all refinished apparently.
Oh, okay,
That's why
that's
like
cool.
nothing was running last year. I had planned on doing some track days with the car last year.
But then we ran into the brake problems.
Well, yeah, that and so that it's kind of lucky
Yeah.
that coincided. But
Yeah.
the track wasn't running hardly, well, pretty much no events last year
No.
because it was being refinished.
And so we're ready to go in the spring with that.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah.
And I mean that's great. We have the opportunity to test stuff in the other Rusty one for the modifications and
Right.
the cool stuff to add a little more power.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome. So those are the Civic plans basically.
Right.
Supra plans we have on the floor here.
Yeah, exciting
on
stuff.
The ground, floor, ground. The stuff that we have here, I've been ordering things. In the other part of the refinement phase that I was interested in making this thing great, I think we got really far. I'd like Sam to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
this
good.
car
It's gotten
does
so much nicer to drive.
so much better. And from where I started to where it is now, I drove it in like December. I took it out just to like get a car wash, underbody flush, just to store it away. And I got back into it and I was like, wow, it's compared to where we started and all the vibrations and everything we were having, I think it's really, really come a long way. I think one of the final parts of it, and one of the things that I've been avoiding the entire time because it's something that I just didn't want to do, was this transmission tunnel issue between the automatics and the manual cars. So what I did, we still have an issue where the transmission can't go up high enough. And the problem is the transmission tunnel that came in the automatic Supras, it's just not, they make the solution. And the solution is right there. So I ordered it. Subsequently ordering that immediately enraged Sam. It put just, yeah. Sam,
Yeah.
tell us how you felt about it.
Well, as you can see here, this is a factory stamped steel manual transmission tunnel piece, which means the entire car has to get torn apart and cut apart, and then we have to weld a new piece in to the top of the tunnel.
I've tried to pitch it to him.
Seal it, and then put it all back together, and hopefully, not for sure, hopefully, everything will fit better.
It's not for sure. The shifter linkage on my German transmission, which by the way, the V160 that comes in these is a German transmission as well, has all the shifter linkage up top. The same thing that it does for the V160, it does for this transmission because it gives you this extra room, which you don't have on the automatic tunnel, to bring the back of that transmission up, and so the shifter linkage doesn't interfere. It also, the other things that I think are nice about it is that instead of me hobbling together some kind of seal for the tunnel, I have factory seals for everything and all these cool grommets that make it really nice and sealed and separated, which I think isolates the cabin and gives it that OEM-ness. So I got all that. I also got, instead of the excessive manufacturing transmission crossmember, I got this from the Netherlands. This was not easy to find out that it existed. I was actually contacted by somebody on Instagram, and they were like, hey, I've got the same transmission in my car, and I'm running all this stuff from this shop, which is, I believe it's called CSB Customs, and it's in the Netherlands. So I was like blown away that somebody made super specific stuff for the exact gearbox that I have. So it comes with this plate that mounts to the back of the transmission, and then this mounts onto the chassis, obviously. So what I love about this is that it takes the angled mounts that honestly add a ton of complexity to the transmission crossmember, and it puts them just like straight up and down. So these guys just ride in there, and then that gives you a ton of adjustability as opposed to figuring out a bunch of weird angles. I just realized I did this. Anyway, so I'm pretty pumped about that. I want to get that in, and I think all those things together are going to get the transmission in a good alignment and, you know, make everything happy and working together, despite the fact that it's all from 14 different cars, 3 different countries. The other part of it, we still have the spare 2J that I would like to disassemble this winter to get the head worked on, because I plan on using the VVTi head in this for the turbo conversion. I already have the turbo manifold, which I don't even know if I've shown on here. I don't think I have. I just bought it on a whim. So. I bought a cheap one. I bought a tubular one because I honestly was under the. I kind of just wanted to start off with a basic T4 tubular manifold and see where that gets me. You know, you can spend, really the sky's the limit with those manifolds. People have a lot of success with the Chinese ones. I don't know. Do I want a really nice one? Yeah. Do I want a $3,000 manifold? I don't really know. I don't think that's necessary for what my goals are, honestly. So another part of that is that I need to switch to a front-facing intake manifold. So I got this stuff here, which the NAT community would be very familiar with this. But I got a fuel rail and then the GTE adapter. So this takes the front-facing intake manifold from a 2J, a GTE. So that converts it to a GE, so it sits like that. And then it comes with the fuel rail, which is what I have over here. This is just a nice piece, all from Dodo Racing. Kind of sounds like doo-doo, and I don't like that. But this is all very, very nice. Give this a little flip here. Ugh. But yeah, this is all real nice stuff. And also gives a really clean, like, OEM Plus look, which is like, I want it to look like, you know, I want it to look simple and like a GTE. You know, I want it to look like it just came like that, which I'm pretty pumped about having this finally. So now I have the exhaust, I have the intake, I need a turbo, I need a fuel system, I need an intercooler. There's still plenty to go.
The rest of the exhaust.
The rest of the exhaust, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of
wastegate,
ECU,
downpipe,
wastegate,
ECU.
downpipe, yeah. So I mean, you know,
almost there.
Definitely not out of the woods, but at the same time, this is a slow process. This stuff, if you're a normal person buying this stuff, I mean, you know, unless you got 25 grand that you're just gonna dump on a car, which I don't.
Yeah, this stuff costs a small fortune. Doing all this.
Yeah, and also doing it in a way that I don't want to do it in a way that's like cheap trash. You know, I'm not trying to do it like the cheapest way where I grab an eBay kit and I use the stock ECU and all that. You know, so whatever. But we'll get into that, and this turbo build's happening nice and slowly. We just have to make sure that Alex gets his car in 2025. And we're currently at 2024. So I believe March of 2025. So that's the hard stop goal for Adam's Turbo Supra.
Yeah. And on top of that, it would be nice, speaking of the other projects, I would love to be able to spank Alex in his S15 with a 35-year-old Celica.
I love that idea.
That would be beautiful.
Honestly, Celica and S15 are like the same. I want to say like in the hierarchy of models, they're like, you know, you have the Skyline,
yeah,
and the Silvia. and then you
Well,
have the Supra and the Celica.
Yeah, right.
So like honestly,
Yeah.
fairest comparison, they're both turbo 4 cylinders.
Turbo 4s, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's the race I'm here for.
But how cool would that be in my first gen GT4?
Which you guys have also gotten glimpses of. I know in the background of our videos.
Yeah, it's been in the background a lot. It's always been at the shop.
But we're gonna dive more into that, I think.
Yeah, I have some things I need to do to that to get it working. It has a standalone on it, and it needs all sorts of sorting out since it's had the standalone put on it.
Well, and it's also you're putting a standalone on 35-year-old electronics. You know,
Well,
it's like you're depending on, it's like the,
Yeah,
like the sensors and everything, and trying to use it the way it is. It's just
yeah. Well, and a lot of that's been replaced. A lot of the sensors have been replaced, not all of them.
no. You need a wideband.
It has a wideband, and it's
But
hooked up to the ECU.
Now it is.
It is.
Oh, it wasn't before.
It wasn't at first.
Don't-
It is now.
Take that tone with me.
It is now.
It wasn't. Okay.
I did that. That was one of the last things I did with the car.
For the internet's sake, last time I was in the car,
Yes.
that was not something that was hooked up, and it was a major, like.
We'll get into all that
Okay.
because that was all. That
We're
was
not gonna
supposed to
we're not
be-
gonna unravel it all now.
It was supposed to be a plug and play ECU as well, which turns out not even close. There's a lot that has gone into that car ever since I bought it. I've had the engine out and torn apart and all sorts of stuff done to it.
I'd like to track down you 3S guys.
Lots of modifications done to that car.
A
Yeah.
capable motor, but a finicky one.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing with the right person at the helm. It can be.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'm the right person, to be completely honest. I've tried to make many shortcuts, and I've tried to game the whole system many times by using parts from other cars and other custom stuff to make this thing work. But it has potential. It does.
No, I love that car. I do love that. I love the way it looks.
It's pretty fast, actually.
It's cool. Yeah, and it has. Yeah.
Or it was anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that thing needs some sorting. But yeah, so there will be some videos on the Celica sometime in the next few months, hopefully. That's going to be the other kind of side project. The Civic's not going to get much attention in the coming 3 to 4 months.
The Civic's just going to be the planning stuff. The Supra is going to be the tedious.
Plenty to do on this
Yeah.
Supra now that the whole thing has to get torn apart again.
It's not the whole thing. It's just part of it.
The whole middle.
Yeah.
It's the whole middle
There's
of the
nothing
car.
even in the middle.
Right.
The engine's in the front. It's powered by the rear wheels. What does that leave in the middle?
The transmission.
Nothing. It's nothing.
Everything else.
We've taken the transmission in and out of this car 14,000 times.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
We're basically professionals at that.
Yeah. Sure.
And one of my favorite things about this transmission swap is it can be pulled out of the back. You gotta get a little tricky with it. There's some tight spots.
Yep.
But there's plenty of room for that thing to breathe. And it's
honestly, getting the transmission in and out of this thing has become pretty easy.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And I'm also excited to check after putting some real mileage on it. I drove this thing all summer. I have the odometer. I never made it work, so I drove a mystery amount of miles. It has some oil consumption issues, which if the motor pops, it needs a new one.
Oh well,
Got an extra.
So be it.
So, there's definitely stuff to look into on this, but let's go. I'm gonna do all the miserable part. Sam's gonna get all the glory when he welds it up, and then he starts doing close-ups of that.
I don't think we're gonna be doing close-ups of the welding.
It's like plug welding.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
it's gonna look good.
Hope so.
You fill a hole.
Mm-hmm.
He's been almost too good at that his whole life. But we'll leave that for another episode. Yeah. So pile of parts, same thing, same recipe as always, right?
Yep. Yep.
But ultimately, thanks for watching. That's kind of the update.
Yeah. Thank you.
We also are still going to do the limited slips in the
Oh yeah.
GS.
Right.
So we're going to use those cases that are over there.
Yep.
On the floor. We're going to use those cases. We're going to do the traction concepts and probably an OS Geiken. I've been very close to pulling the trigger on that. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I'm going to keep apologizing every time I say that.
Geiken.
I don't
know. I don't know.
I'm from Wisconsin. What do you want from me?
Right.
Okay. We say everything wrong. Okay.
You betcha.
You betcha, pal. Well, I know this is a lot of talking, but also just a lot of planning, which is important in managing all these different projects, and managing our time and figuring out where we're going to go with this. So, I think first we're probably going to get after Supra, maybe Civic test fitting stuff. Anyway, we appreciate you guys subscribing. Appreciate you guys watching, and hope you keep watching. And we look forward to you guys following along as we work on all of our stuff, and hopefully we can have another awesome summer. I mean, I feel like summer was so cool, being able to drive our stuff. And I mean, there's so many projects that I feel like I've forgotten about. When I go back through our video list and realize that the GS got a timing belt and the Supra had a billion things done to it, and the Civic had so much done to it, and the Civic, we tried so hard to get it just in time, and did get to drive it, but
a little bit.
Yeah. So now we want to add the Celica to that list. Thanks for subscribing, and thanks for watching. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Cheers. And then in between here, the thing that I love about this is it takes the angled mounts. Fuck that up. Because I'm burping. I'm like Rick. Grandpa Rick. Yeah, Grandpa Rick. Anyway.
Thanks, you.
Yeah. In the middle of fucking like a scumbag. Anyway. All right. Anyway.